that's part of the story for all of you. And it was challenging to say the least. Beyond going 2-9, managing more than football, managing COVID protocol, managing emotions from families and players that had family members ill, and it was a unique time. What I will say, I would never wish it away. We learned a lot about ourselves. One of the great things in sport is that through difficult times and hardship, we probably have a chance to become something special that no one will ever take away from you. And it made sure that all of our players that left understand that value and how much we value them. I think our players that are returning have gained a great advantage. I think the growth was obvious in January. This team has got a lot of balance, a lot of competition per position, a lot of the right elements returning, an incredible work ethic and attitude. What does that mean? Nothing until you put it on the grass and you go get the job done. It's been a celebration for us to have a spring and a summer that we didn't have a year ago. So I think our team has embraced work better than any of the other 13 teams we've had at Duke. This team has really embraced hard work, and I certainly hope for their sake that pays off. So I'll take any questions that you have.
You talked about it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for coaches. You dealt with COVID. You've had to deal with transfer portal. Now you've got to deal with the issue of endorsements. As a coach, how do you keep that from maybe splitting the locker room with players and maybe getting endorsements and other guys working just as hard?
Well, I think that the NIL is really still hard to grasp for players, for families, for coaches, for media. I was a part of a lot of the conversation on NCAA committees. I'm a board member with the AFCA. We've had a lot of discussion. So I think we did a really good job of preparing our team. It's a unique time. NIL is not intended to be a recruiting tool. It's not in any way going to be a get-rich-quick scheme. It is all about building an image, but building your reputation, which means who you are. With that comes some value. I don't think it's about signing with agencies long term. I don't think it's going to be about signing with agents long term. That may be for a few, not within a team. But if you look at the National Football League, there are under 1,700 players. How many of them do you see an endorsement on television? 10 or less. Therein lies the reality. You understand what I'm saying? I love NIL because I want them to build an image. I want them to be able to give private lessons. If you earn the starting quarterback job at Duke or anywhere, yeah, you should be an entity to utilize all that hard work and wisdom and knowledge, and you can build that brand without, you can do that through social media. You don't need an agent taking what you've built. So I think we need to understand ownership of reputation and ownership of image, not necessarily endorsements. That makes sense? Any questions about that? It's a unique way to look at it, but it has no place in enticing players in recruitment. That's still illegal. So understand that. I don't think we will see a divided locker room at Duke, and I can't speak for anyone else. But I don't think we'll see that at all.
Coach, is there a sense of relief for you knowing that Duke is requiring vaccinations and that's something you guys are able to worry too much about? And is there an advantage there for your team to be able to do these things normal per se, that maybe if you guys were all going to be vaccinated, you couldn't?
You're talking to a coach that everything a year ago was not everything, not normal. Our guys were not even back until late July. So we weren't allowed to come to campus, let alone we had to be in 2 different locker rooms. We had nobody in our stadium, not families, nobody. So vaccination became very important to us. I was as early as I could get over there to get in line. And we are down to maybe one player that just arrived that is short of vaccination. So the freedoms that go with that, the relief for me that people forget all of these young people were under your care. I'm talking to parents about what are we doing to make sure they're safe. That'd make you sweat bullets, you know. So vaccination has been something. I like to dance anyway. After wins, I'm dancing after vaccinations.
We just announced that Coach
Yeah, I hadn't heard it till just a few minutes ago. It's emotional for me. My uncle, my dad's brother, played college football and roomed with Coach Bowden at Howard College in East Lake, Alabama, which is a part of Birmingham. I spent years going down, visiting with Coach Bowden one-on-one because I've known him a long time. He's one of my coaching heroes, and I'm sure for many, I know many of his players, and I know they attribute a lot of what's right in their lives with him. I think in a time where a lot is changing in the landscape of college football, let's celebrate Bobby Bowden and what he brought to so many young people and young coaches. One of my greatest memories is going up in the tower with him at a spring practice. And all of his assistant coaches, they know me and we're like, what are you saying up there, man? I'm telling them y'all can't coach, you know. But in all seriousness, just to be inside his head, and I've got just recently pulled out some documents that I'm fortunate to have of his thoughts. Before I knew this, was reading them this past weekend. So I'm very appreciative. And I got to go on a Nike coaching trip where I'm the head coach at Ole Miss, and I have a picture with he and Coach Paterno. In my history with Coach Bryant, I may have pictures with 3 that'll never be matched again. So if I sound emotional, I am. And I want to learn more, and I'm going to as soon as I finish my day here.
Coach, we were just talking to Gunnar, and he said, you know, while he would have liked to have been a starter maybe the last few years and not had the hardships, he thinks now is the right time for him. What have you seen from him as far as developing both on and off the field that makes his time?
I think Gunnar is like a lot of young, talented quarterbacks. They think, well, it's throwing and it's making good decisions. It's being ready to be a Power 5 quarterback. It may start in the weight room in your training and how you train to stay healthy. If you will look at quarterback careers, there have been many that were gifted that didn't have the ability to stay well. I can tell you, like I tell them, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Heath Shepard, Daniel Jones, all first rounders that we've had. They were the best we had in the weight room. They never got out of shape. They were strong, strong in the core, strong in the legs. It's one of the reasons we redshirted Eli. He wasn't ready. Yeah, he was mad at me, and when I called Archie and told him I was going to redshirt him, he didn't even bat an eye. He knew from being a quarterback himself. So I think Gunnar's right. What he is right now is a much stronger product. He's got a hard time staying healthy. He's just as fast as he ever was, but he's stronger. With strength comes more accuracy, to be honest with you. His quickness is better in the pocket. Certainly another big part of it is the amount of time, quality time I spend studying the game. you kind of have to learn how to study the game. You don't just go sit down and watch a film. What are you looking at? One of the biggest differences in training quarterback is teaching them how to watch film on their own. And that's one of the first things I do, and it frustrates them because all I do is teach defense to begin with. It doesn't matter what they learn about our system if they don't understand what they're playing against. And so I think Gunnar was so gifted and it just all came natural to him. I think those lessons needed to be learned, and it's going to help him.
What's the biggest distinguishable characteristic about him that makes him unique to other guys?
Probably out and out speed, although Daniel Jones would argue with that. But Gunnar is fast, very, very fast. He's got a quiet confidence about him. I don't think he has a need to be a vocal leader and he still is a leader. I watch him around his teammates. They respect him a great deal just because Gunnar he's one of those people that's not going to overpromise and underdeliver. And all of us get tired of that guy. And Gunnar's more likely to underpromise and overdeliver.
One of the things he talks about, a reason why he chose Duke, was because he's a local guy and his family's right up the road. They haven't had a chance to watch him in that stadium for a season. What has he talked about the excitement of getting them in there, and how much can that really be impactful?
Well, his mother is excited. I can tell you that for sure. For all of them, that was hard, and I felt so badly that we would go on the road and their parents could watch them play. We came home, and that was one of the harder things for me. And I set up Zooms with parents, surprised our team in the Friday night meetings with short Zooms with their parents, wishing them luck, and Zoom hugs, whatever that is. But we tried to manage that, and I think people really don't understand the emotion. And mental health was an issue for all athletes in 2020. It wasn't just, I'm not talking about losing, I'm talking about mental health, period. Anybody thinks that's not real, they're wrong. And so there were a lot of hardships. And so right now, believe me, they're celebrating it right now. They celebrate it in the spring. They know what's coming, and they have just a huge excitement for the season, playing games in front of family and friends and fans.
And then the commissioner said that he's going to show you, you and all the other 13 head coaches, the proposal for the college football playoff extending. What's kind of your mindset going into it? Are you closed-minded going into the proposal? Are you open to the idea?
I have. She asked about the college football playoffs. I don't know if y'all can hear. I've been a part of those meetings. I've been on a lot of NCAA committees. I know those people with the CFP very well. I'm a member of the board of the American Football Coaches Association. I think it's inevitable it's going to happen. Okay, I'll start with that. I'm not negative about it, but I grow a little tired of the comments that aren't as sincere as I think they should be. This is not about finding a better way to find a champion. That's not the path. This is all about money, and that's important too. The funds will go from millions to billions, and you can't just ignore that. The funds become important not just for football, it becomes important for other student athletes and programs. We've had a tough year across the country. That's important, and you have to listen to that. It's also important that I think we consider part of this, because this isn't about APR, graduation rates. This isn't about player safety. This isn't about health and well-being. It's about money. So I think maybe more important than NIL, if you're going to extend to 2 semesters or extend a season like that, the players get a percentage, not stars, all of them get a little check. So I'm not going to just be dead set against it. I just want to hear honesty. I know exactly what it's about. There are not 12 teams that you would select that are 12 teams that deserve to win the national championship. If you want to go that far, what's wrong with 13, 14, 15, 16? That's the next argument. But I'm not going to deny the fact that that kind of money used properly can make a department better, not just football better. And that's as honest an answer as I can give you all. That's the reality. So somebody just come on out and say what the real reason is being pushed for.
Does it concern you if the season would go longer, the players' safety and their bodies getting injured?
Absolutely.
Does that kind of, do you think this proposal, money is outweighing the health and safety of players?
You just asked a different question. You have to ask those people that are pushing this that question. I would hope not. If we prove that it's much worse for the players to extend it, that we wouldn't sell out to them. If it's managed properly, then you possibly can. But you can't tell me going back. I mean, football is not a quote tournament sport. The Super Bowl champion often hasn't been the best team all year long. Go look and study it. Again, you got to look at how we're going to go about this. How many games are you going to play? And could it be 3 more games in a 21-day period? Or you go back to no vacation, mental health issues. I think players, when you explain to them, they wouldn't even worry about their physical health. They might worry about the wear and tear. And then you're starting the spring semester and starting spring practice. They're all there in the summer year round. When does it stop?
Okay.
Go back to John for a moment. Mentally, he's got to turn everything that he's got. And he talked about patience, about the drive, and everything. Can you talk about that, how that impacts his mental approach and what makes him the expert?
If Gunner will be a problem of being challenged inside. I mean, what are most quarterbacks now who doesn't go well early? They're gone. He will reap the benefits being tough mentally. He will reap the benefits perseverance. You may throw 3 interceptions in the first half. If you shut it down there, you got no chance to win the game in the second half. Go back and look at even Super Bowls. How many guys have done that and won all games? So coaching and training a quarterback is far different than the X's and O's and just the ability to throw a football. And he's going to hear this from me more and more and more as he builds his ability to play the position.
For a guy like him doesn't take stuff for granted that he doesn't have that good ability to coach.
I think it's everything. I mean, the buy-in as a coach is probably harder than ever when people want to get on any platform and think they're getting more accurate information about themselves or their circumstance. So I think the word, what I've always told quarterbacks, I'm never going to lie to you because I can't coach you unless you trust me. And I think over time is where relationships and trust are built. And I've had other quarterbacks that have gone through developmental time. And I think they benefit greatly from it. Daniel Jones went through some developmental times. We talked about that just recently when he came. He comes back, and Peyton came back, and he only came back to get work because of the trust. I think that's where the opportunity is, and I think it gives me a chance to coach him at a much better level than when they don't trust him. Maybe impossible when they don't. Because they're not always going to like what you say.
Dave.
Discipline approach towards any opportunities. Do you wonder, I know some other coaches speculating around that, this, if there's an unbalanced opportunity maybe for the higher profile guys and